Okay. Whew. So hello and welcome. We have taken a trip to the beach. Okay. So we must stay connected to nature. To stay connected to nature is to stay connected to the organic human being. Okay. Trauma calcifies the pineal gland and it builds up over time. We go from being human to being narcissists. We normalize narcissism because as human beings, we adapt. We are adaptable. So when you're put in a certain environment, you could complain, you can be miserable, you can be upset, this, and that. But nothing lasts always, and nothing lasts for a long time before you get to the point to where you have no choice but to surrender to your situation and circumstances. Right? So if you think about the movie Castaway, this man comes from a pretty privileged life, right? Then he gets thrown onto a deserted island. And so he had to adapt. He had to learn the ways, the ways of survival. So now the thing is that when we talk about like institutions and stuff, we think about structure. Okay, so structure is very necessary because the goal is for everybody to be able to coexist and live amongst each other civilized. So when that peace is being threatened, then this is why we have rules, we have consequences for breaking those rules. Okay, so what ends up happening, that's a Jumba. What ends up happening is that whatever environment that you're put in and you're stuck for the moment or temporary, you're going to adjust and adapt. Okay, in some situations, like in any situation or environment, you're going to have to adapt. If you don't like it, then don't be there. But there are certain things that happen in life to where you have to and you can't move. For example, like if you're locked up, you're not used to living that way. So now you're in prison, you're locked into this place and it's limited. Based on your behavior, you get more limitation. So now your mind is being programmed. Now you are adapting to your situation and your circumstances because it's kind of like, I'm not getting out of here. Whenever I do something I'm not supposed to do, then it seems like shit gets worse for me. Right? So after a couple of times with your hard head ass, getting popped on your butt, now it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to tighten up. I'm going to get my shit together. So standing up for yourself, this is where it comes into play. How we stand up for ourselves. Okay, so you have surrendered to the structure. So now you have to behave. You have to stay within a certain limit of things in which that you're doing or behavior that you are displaying. Naturally, that is beginning to train you. Is beginning to program your mind. Okay, so now it's like your mind is now, it's like your brain now has like these four walls. And due to this experience, your brain is trapped in these four walls. Okay, yes, you know that there are rules and you know that you need to abide by those rules so you don't have to deal with no fucking consequences. Where we stand up for ourselves is still maintaining our individuality, right? So let's say before you went to jail, you was a hellion. You got out of jail, now you're trying to get your shit together. But the place that you come from, being in prison, like that is a mark that will be on your brain for the rest of your life. Okay? Prisons they say they are supposed to rehabilitate, but they do not rehabilitate individuals. They institutionalize individuals. If you want to rehabilitate in jail, you have to take initiative to do that. Okay? So that's why with some people, they obtain degrees, certificates in jail. They write books, publish books when they're in jail. So this is how you stand up for yourself, because you're not just allowing your environment to mold you and just be you. And just be what this box expects you to be. Okay, you understand and you accept your circumstances. But at the same time, you're not willing to just sit around in jail, not doing anything with your life, not building your body, not building your mind, not educating yourself further. You're not utilizing your time wisely. You're just sitting around waiting to get out, dealing with a bored mind. A bored mind breeds trouble. So you find yourself getting in trouble all the time because you don't have anything productive to do. You don't have anything productive to focus on. This is how we stand up for ourselves. So when individuals get out of jail, like, yeah, you're going to have that scar on your brain. You're going to have that mark. It's going to always be there. But that is purposeful. So it's not something that you need to get rid of. It is something that you need to heal, and you need to keep yourself treated. When you experience certain types of trauma, your life needs to become treatment. You need to live a healing life, right? Because it's easy to get triggered and fall back into that dark place, in that dark space. Even if you get out here and obtain a whole bunch of success for yourself, you start to become something else. You start to become expectations of the world and other people and everybody around you. And human beings, we are creatures of adaptation. So when we start practicing and we start creating these patterns with how we're dealing with life, with how we're dealing with people, well, now you're creating your life to where it's like a loop. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to want more. One day you're going to start noticing and start seeing how people have not changed. Okay, so let's say you got locked up. You don't have a supportive family. You don't have a good family. Your family don't fuck with you. Okay, you get out of jail. Let's say you write a book or some shit. That shit is a top seller. Motherfuckers want to make a movie off of it. You're doing book tours. You're doing tours for this movie. Let's say they want you in the movie. You know what I'm saying? So now it's just like you're blowing up and you're being recognized. Opportunities are coming towards you. So now you're expanding on a whole new level of wealth and success. You know who your family is, but that money helps you forget. And throughout the years, there comes a point in time to where you stop and you're going to reflect. Like, maybe your family has been doing things behind your back. Maybe they deal with entitlement. Maybe they're trying to use you. Maybe they're trying to do this. Maybe they're trying to do that. Whatever. You've been seeing the shit. You knew it a long time ago. Through your success, shit has not really changed with them. If anything, it has made them a little more irritated by your presence. But the programming, what do we tell ourselves? That's my family. Okay, you can set your boundaries with distance and space. Okay? Distance and space. You can love people from a distance. That is another form of programming. Because when we put titles on relationships, we feel obligations. Okay? So if you feel obligated that you have to be there for your family and they were never there for you. You feel obligated that, this relationship, you have to be in this relationship because you built all of this with this person. So you have like all of these strings attached. And with all of these strings attached, it's kind of like, it's like a puppet. All of these strings, they're attached to something else. So when motherfuckers want to, they can just pull you. Subconsciously, in your mind, you always feel trapped, right? Why do we feel trapped? Because the trauma of institution, like I said, that shit scars your brain. If you don't dedicate your life to having a healing life, you're going to become a fucking narcissist. And when I say that, I'm not talking about, and see, narcissism, like I said, is normalized. You become a very abusive person. I'm trying to tell you, there's going to be a person who's going to come into your life and they're going to wake you the fuck up. That very dark place that you have been in, that you survive off of, that you try to push to the back of your head, somebody is going to come and illuminate that shit. And then you're going to have an awakening. You're going to have a realization. I want more, right? So let's say if it's a love interest, this love interest is who you truly are at heart. But you are so far away from that person. In your mind, you think you're that person. But the way you've been living, treating people, doing certain shit, you're far from it. And that doesn't mean that you're doing anything bad. You may not be as good as a friend as you thought you were. You may not be as good as a boss as you thought you were. Just shit like that. Okay? But, so when it comes to this person, you see this person, but you don't see them because you can no longer see the reflected image of that person within yourself anymore. So people handle this in many ways. Some people get triggered, they get upset, they get mad. They feel like you're trying to copy them. They feel like you're trying to mock them. They feel like you're trying to steal who they are or their identity. They just completely just have the wrong fucking idea. A lot of narcissistic individuals do. A lot of people are very narcissistic and they don't even know that they're narcissistic. But anyway, so now you're so narcissistic, you can't even fall in love with this person. You done been through your life, you done had your life, you done seen how shit went from terrible to wonderful. And in between this transformation, you've lost yourself in there along the way. And now you start trying to build on this new identity. There's nothing wrong with you. Upgrading, evolving has nothing to do with identity. People start creating identity based off of how the world is going to perceive you. So when you give the world that much control, just like you had to give to that institution during that time, what ended up happening? They own you now. They control you now. This is what I'm saying. You're free, but your mind is not. Okay? Just like you was being controlled in jail, you couldn't be controlled, which is why you got thrown in jail. So now that you are controlled, that system has controlled you. So when you get out here into the world, now the world controls you. Now you don't feel good enough. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend, and he was a gangster guy, and he had a whole bunch of tattoos. He opened up a shop. He wanted to be more of a businessman, got rid of his tattoos. At this time, I didn't even know you could do that shit. So he got rid of his tattoos, and now he has this new identity to where now all he wears is like business suits, casual clothes. He doesn't wear jeans, blah, 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 blah. Right. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't have to change in order to change your mindset. Do you understand what I'm saying? Be free. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. There are pastors, people who are preaching in churches with teardrops on their fucking face, tatted the fuck down. Them motherfuckers is not going to get those tattoos removed. They are not controlled. They do not care. In some way, shape, or form, they are controlled. And in some way, shape, or form, we're all oppressed in some kind of way. But when have tattoos ever been accepted in the church? And for a pastor at that. You see, people will show you how to be free, and people will show you what freedom looks like and what it is. There's nothing wrong about you. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't have to try to change and be a different man, a different woman to appease anybody. So when it came to my friend, he went through all of that. He did all of that. And of course, motherfuckers start fucking with him because, he just started taking business seriously. He just started taking himself more serious. So, and that's the way that he wanted to do it. And like attracts like, right? So now he's creating like this new mindset. Now he's wanting to be in different places, in different spaces. He's meeting new people, different people, and he's admiring these people. And in some way, shape, or form, he wants to be like these people. So he starts studying them. He starts getting into certain things in which that they're interested in. There's nothing wrong with experiencing other people and vicariously sometimes living through other people. God lives vicariously through us. God loves to experience us. It's just the God in you. Okay? But the thing is, okay, fuck. I forgot what I was about to say. The thing is, and what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to be a different person to be a better person. And when I say that, you don't have to take on wanting to be like something or somebody else. You're totally neglecting you because you don't like where you came from, or you don't like, or sometimes we're running away from the past. We want to get far away, but when you are someone to where your life is of purpose, it's full of purpose. You have to understand your life is not, you're not going to figure out your life. Your steps are going to be guided. You know, if you don't connect to God or believe in God, well, God loves you anyway. God is going to have mercy. You're just not going to have the type of fulfillment that you want. And you're not going to be able to create it for yourself neither. You're always just going to depend on outside situations and circumstances. You know, like nothing about you is about you. It's always about the external, or it's always about somebody else. Then you become a person to where at one point in time you needed upliftment. You didn't receive it, but your resilience pulled you through. But then you turn around and you become somebody to where you discourage other people. You know what I'm saying? You're not helpful or beneficial to other people. Then on top of that, you think that you know everything due to your experiences. And it's just like, you may know a lot about the world and how certain shit works because you have given yourself to the world. You have given it all up to everything and everybody else. So when it comes to you, you know, you cannot depend on yourself to be able to create or provide fulfillment. But at the same time, that is the trick of money. And especially when you have lots of it, because you'll always be able to pay or fund, you know, yourself emotionally. What do I mean when I say that? You'll always be able to fulfill yourself externally on the outside when it comes to you having wealth. My thing is that you can have even more wealth and you can have eternity within, you know, if you start loving yourself more, you know. If you think about it, you know, well, it just depends, because some people, they sell out, they sell their soul. And a lot of the times, this is us giving ourselves to the world. It's okay, because most people are doing it, they're doing it, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. Some people are very aware, and they're doing it purposefully to where they sign up for it. You know, some individuals, they just don't know. They just are not aware of anything except for whatever is being fed to them. You know, you got to be careful. The world is full of lies. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to do the right thing, with wanting to change and all this. But you have to ask yourself, is your change really an upgrade or evolution, or are you running away from something? 9 times out of 10, you're running away from yourself. And every time you deal with people from your past, it just reminds you of how much you hated that time. Secretly, you can't stand any of these people from your past neither. You don't want anything to do with them. And there's nothing wrong with that, because people from your past will hold you. But you got to be true to yourself. Because just like when it came to my friend, you know, it's like he wanted to completely cut his roots. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to stay connected. He didn't want to stay connected to himself. You have to stay connected to your roots. Like I said, it's not about going down the past, being stuck in the past. But the further you go in life, you need to take a minute to look back at how far you've come. You're chosen. So your life is not just about you, as much as you may want to think that. As much as you have accomplished and you have done it predominantly by yourself, You may say, you know, I'm doing this. I'm doing this by myself. No, the fuck you're not. I did this. I made this happen. Blah, 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 blah. You know, you had help. You had help somewhere along there. And it's kind of like, well, we're not going to sit here and talk about and dwell on how shit could be. You know, I just feel like if you're blessed, you could be blessed 10 times even more with taking on living a more healed life. Then on top of that, you got to know that your trauma is connected and affects your children too, whether they know about it or not. I feel like for each generation, it needs to be about the future ahead. If we can work on healing ourselves as parents, then we can raise these healed children. And these healed children can be out here and people can be experiencing their healing. And we can just plant seeds. And the shit could just turn into a big ass ripple within the world. It's not about changing the world. It's not about wanting to help the world or whatever. But you are here. And everybody needs to play a role and contribute into humanity in some way, shape or form. You don't have to do anything. If you work on yourself and take care of yourself, therefore you are a blessing to other people, well, thank you for your contribution. That's more than enough. If you want to go out here and donate millions and thousands of dollars to charity, well, thank you. You know, we appreciate that. The world appreciates that. Whatever. At the end of the day, it's about you, and it needs to be about you. Nothing is wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you, the more success you gain, the more enemies, secret enemies you gain too. And people can see the greatness in you more than you can see it within yourself. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to give you your flowers. They like you because everybody's on the same level. They don't have to deal with no bullshit. But at the same time, it's kind of like there may be something about you to where it's like it's impossible how this person is who they are. You may be full with grace. You may be very humble, but at the same time, assertive. You're very kind, generous, down to earth. People love you, but they hate you too. Because everybody is dealing and struggling with something within themselves. Okay? So when people don't know how to handle what's going on with them, they start projecting outwardly. Okay, they start projecting outwardly. They start making other people their problem. They start focusing too much on other people. This, and that. You know, next thing you know, the people that you were sitting at the table with, smiling in your face, eating the food with you, now they're smiling while you go down. And it's just like, well, I thought y'all was my friends. And I thought we all looked out for each other. And they just sitting there smiling while you go down. Like, yeah, you thought it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about you. You were born with everything that you need. You know what I'm saying? You were born with it. Everything that you need to heal yourself, to live this life, to be happy, you have it. You were born with it. You know, we have to take time out to get away from the crowd. We have to take time out to be in spaces that are full of abundance. When you step outside, it's nothing but life outside, right? When we're in our homes, our comfortable homes consist of cable, Wi-Fi, all of this electricity. You know what I'm saying? Like the internet, the TV, you know, once again, it's the box. Right? So we can use our imagination with practicing coming outside of the box, right? So you love your home is comfortable, but sometimes you feel discontent. Even if you don't feel discontent, you need to get out of your home, because even though that is your comfort zone, you can begin to lose gratitude for your home. Now, here come the feelings of discontentment. Now, you're unsatisfied. Now you want more and more and more and more and more. You're working for more, but you don't have the time or the life to sit back and enjoy it. But like I said, it's like you're a battery and you are running off of you, but everybody else is exhausting your energy. Set boundaries. You need to be able to say no. But fuck all that. Because the main thing is, it's like, stop caring about people more than you. Stop caring about being liked more than you like yourself. Like, just, it's time to get, it's time. Like, the world takes a seat. I have given enough to this world. I have learned, I have came, I have conquered, I appreciate, but now I'm in need of something new and something different. The world will not heal you. So we have to come out of the world. You don't have to get into certain information and knowledge. I mean, of course. I mean, if you were willing to upgrade and all that, you were willing to upgrade after you got out of jail or whatever, and you have gained like success both within yourself and financially, it's kind of like, why not? You've given enough. Sometimes we stay stuck in a certain place, well, because we're comfortable. We don't want shit to change, but change is the inevitable. Okay, so I mean, anyway, going back to my friend, he started hanging out with people, and he started hanging out with like more like white guys and like different types of black guys, the more uppity black guys. Okay, so then you notice how it's like he's quoting everything that these people say, but you can tell that this is not him. You can tell from his actions. You can tell from his relationships with how he worked with people. You see, he want to make it seem like he's more than where he came from, right? That would be true if he stayed anchored to him. Like, brother, you don't need to change your physical identity in order to be respected. Like, for one, if you're black, it don't matter what you look like. It don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter what your life look like. It don't matter what your wife look like. You always gonna be black. You're never gonna be accepted for anything else. Right? And this is what I'm saying. This is the shit that I'm saying. Life is controlling you. It's molding you, the world, with making you think that you got to look like this. You got to be like this, do like this. No. You're perfect. You were born perfect. You were born with everything that you needed. Okay? Now, the thing is that, I mean, you do what you want to do. But when you're institutionalized, you're not doing shit because you want to do it. You're trying to figure out the best way to go. So you see some shit, you locked in, now that is the way that you're going. But that is not true to you. Not wholeheartedly. It's about balance. You stay harmonized, you stay balanced within yourself. You'll never lose sight of what is truly important. You'll never lose the connection between you and the world. Ooh, this leg falling asleep, honey. These toes look beautiful though. So anyway, I hope that you take into consideration of what I said. I know that being in prison rather is incarcerated, or rather you are in prison within your mind. Because I'm gonna tell you, I've dealt with a lot of psychological things, and I've dealt with that from my mother. So it's kind of like my home growing up was a prison, and my mother was the warden. She was very verbally and psychologically abusive. She was physically abusive, but she wasn't as consistent with her physical abuse. It's not like Precious. You seen that movie Precious? It won't no shit like that. So I have a lot of issues, or I had a lot of issues with dealing with myself, because as a young girl growing up, I have all of these talents, but at the same time, I have struggles in school and at home. My mom don't make a lot of money, so when I go to school, I'm getting joked for the shit that I'm wearing. You know, people knew me because I could sing and I could draw. And that is what pushed me into the art schools. You see how this shit be working? And it's just like, even at the age of 38 as an artist, I still feel like there's something that I am missing. I still feel imprisoned to the structure of artistry. And I find myself, you know, trying to expand and just break free. But it's like deep down inside, mentally, it's like I can't unlearn what I have learned. So stop trying to forget what you learned and move in the direction and learning something in a new, and relearning, but in a new way. So when it comes to artistry, you know, everybody, it's all about the realism. I don't understand. If you want some realistic shit, then take a photo. That's what photography is for. But anyway, you know, everybody wants some realistic shit. I mastered realism at the age of 12. I taught myself. I started drawing at the age of 5 when I used to watch my sister draw. And I would do what she was doing. Now, the only difference is that I kept going and my sister stopped. Okay? So, you know, in between, I would meet people in random places that could draw, and they would give me tips and pointers, but that's it. By the age of 12, I mastered the face. Then after that, you know, this shit just became so boring. You know what I mean? I didn't really value or appreciate, you know, like painting and drawing and all that type of stuff. And there's so much that you can do with it. I didn't know what to do with it. I thought that maybe going to school, the shit would give me some direction. No. My work was consistently butchered. You know what I'm saying? But some pieces were good. I had good experiences and I had bad experiences. From my work, when it came to dealing with peers, when it came to dealing with teachers at these schools, and then on top of that, I'm black. I'm going to tell you straight up. You know, these schools, they have to have minorities in order to stay afloat. So when it came to the minorities within these schools, we didn't get scholarships. The white kids did. So I had to deal with that too. You see, like, dealing with these institutions, it just scars you in so many ways mentally. You know, I mean, of course, I'm over the feeling of things, but true to myself, I still feel imprisoned when it comes to my artistry. So, I mean, and that's very big for me because, like I said, what pushed me more into the artistry was, you know, dealing with challenges at school, dealing with challenges at home. In my situation, it was an escape. You know, with somebody who got locked up, it's kind of like, well, you know, you was out here doing some shit that you weren't supposed to be doing. You just got locked up for it. It's the same, but different. It's the same principle, but how we get to the principle is different. This is what you call reflections. So to where somebody goes through something mentally, another person goes through it physically. But whatever we take ourselves through mentally or physically affects the other. So growing up, you know, I had issues with my weight, you know, and my mom would talk shit and she would call me fat and all this type of stuff. You know, you ever met somebody to where they were real big? They lose the weight, they look great, but they still have the fat person. They still see that fat person in the mirror, no matter how much weight they lose. It's all psychological. So it's like once we can come outside of our minds, once we can come outside of our heads, once we can be brave, you know, to do what we want to do without overstepping our boundaries or getting into trouble, then we're on our way. So, you know, today it's mainly about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. You cannot get into you with constantly being surrounded around other people. I know that there may be people that need you, but you got to stand up for yourself and demand your time. I understand it can be challenging. You know, my mother, my stepdad, they was just, it's like they was trying to control my life. And they would try to use my son to do that. It was very hard for me to cut them off, but I had to stand up to them. And I had to cut them off for the protection of my child and of myself. I'm going to tell you one thing, when it comes to your family, what your family do to you when you're younger, they will do it to your children too. Because they see the same light in your children that they saw in you. It may be even brighter, or it may not be as bright, but they see the potential. Like, you just like your mama, you just like your daddy. You know what I'm saying? That's that same light that they wanted to kill in you. They're going to go for your children. You know, my mother hit me. You know, she was physically abusive. You know, the first time she put her hands on my son, because he got a smart mouth. Okay. I told her, don't do it again. If you have a problem with him, let me know. So then it got to a point to where, you know, she's just like, she want to take him to the beach to work on schoolwork, which makes absolutely no fucking sense. That makes no sense. Why would you take a child to the beach to focus and do work? He couldn't focus. So she ended up slapping him in the face and hitting him with the paper. And when I was in North Carolina, she got frustrated with my stepbrother and she slapped him all up with a towel, a wet towel, because he didn't put his plate. My stepbrother has, he's on the spectrum of autism. So at the time he was 37 with the mentality of a 5-year-old. And she's upset. He's trying to give her the plate and she's like, put it in the sink. He doesn't understand. So she get frustrated and she starts slapping him up with the towel. I tried to tell my stepdad. He ain't want to listen. You see, I've seen shit. I'm not playing when it come to my son. So yeah, your ass can get cut the fuck off. Was it challenging? Yeah. Because, you know, your family going to go through all this dramatic shit. Oh, you don't treat family like that. Oh, I raised you. I did this. I did that. And see, you know, they want to say what they want to say. But when you start speaking some real hardcore truth about who they really are, then that's when the drama starts. I didn't have time for that. Like, you got to go. I know my mother too well. She a sneaky bitch. She got to go. And that's what I'm saying. You got to understand. You got to let these titles go. Because these titles are keeping you stuck. Well, that's my mom. That's my dad. But the motherfucker be but they tried to kill you. They abused you. They hurt you. Made you feel like and treat you like you're not nothing, that you're not important. I don't give a fuck if that's your mom or not. It's about love. And that ain't love. Nobody is perfect. And some people just don't know what love is and they just don't know how to love. That's why it has to be about you. We spend so much time complaining, resenting because of what we're not getting from the outside. That is a trap. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. Okay, you know, it's gonna be pretty hot today. We're gonna be in the house majority of the day, but I just wanted to come out here, get some of this good fresh air, spend time with myself, at least an hour with myself to myself. I have more maintenance to do to myself. So we are going to enter into the next portion of this session with getting into some animation. Okay, so until the next time, we'll talk again.